Hi, I'm one of your friendly neighborhood nerds from over at TechStarters. What is TechStarters? We're a tech company, of course. One that does all sorts of nerdy things to help businesses just like yours grow. If you have one. If not, then what I'm here to tell you can still be very useful to you if you have a website or are planning on having one built in the future. The big topic for today is SEO. More specifically, the 3 things that you need to understand about SEO and how to use it effectively. The goal is to make your site easily searchable by the people looking for whatever your site has to offer. So let's get started with the big question. What is SEO? Before we can get into the nitty-gritty of how to utilize it, we need to first understand what that 3-letter acronym even means. Search Engine Optimization is what our fun little topic stands for. It is the method or science of having your site show up on the first page of a search in search engines such as Google whenever someone enters certain keywords that relate to your site. How is this important for your website or business? It's very simple. In the convenient world of online purchasing and internet browsing, people will be much more likely to visit your site if it appears at the top of a Google search. On the other hand, if your site appears lower on the page or doesn't appear at all, then people will be much less likely to visit your site or even be aware of its existence. Low website traffic equals little to no business. Consider this. If the first site that someone finds in their Google search is what they were hoping to find, that person would have no reason to look elsewhere once they landed on that site. That's why you want the first site that they click on to be yours. But you have to take extra care in making sure that once they've found your site, that they want to stay for a little while, and maybe even consider purchasing something. If the majority of your site's visitors find your site through a search that doesn't pertain to what they want to find, then they would be very likely to leave your site and wind up on someone else's. The term for this is bounce rate. Bounce rate is the percentage of visitors to a website who immediately navigate away from that site after only viewing one page. So, a high bounce rate would mean that your site is not reaching its target audience. And that's bad for business. Very bad. If this is something that you're experiencing with your site right now, then don't panic. I'm sure your site has plenty of great content already for a particular niche. But if that's the case, then your problem is most likely that too many of the wrong people are finding your site instead of your target audience. What you want is a low bounce rate. A low bounce rate means that most of the people who visit your site are staying on your site. They find your content interesting and relevant to the search they entered. This is very good. It means that your target audience is being reached effectively and the content of your site is meaningful to most of the people who land on your site. Remember that word content. This is an important word in SEO that I'm going to touch on later in this video. So hopefully this gives you a good idea of the importance of having your site optimized. Now, let's get into the actual tips and tricks that will help your site be visited by all of the right people, your beautiful target audience, and it will be able to stand tall amongst all of the other sites like it, because really, no site will ever be like it. It will be a golden, shining sanctuary for all who enter it, and all of your visitors can bask in the digital glory that is your site. It will grow from the sad, barren place that it is in right now into something special. Right now, the other sites, it's their time up there. But soon, it will be your time up there. It will be your time at the top of the Google search. And when that day comes, it will be known as the best site in the world. So, the first topic of interest is tags and representation. It's fairly common knowledge at this point what keyword and description tags are if you are at all savvy with the World Wide Web. But in case you're new to this, keyword tags are a method of adding special words related to your site that you want your site to rank for. And a description tag is a short, carefully thought out summary of the content that is in your web page. Understand? Got it? Great! So here's the thing about those. They used to be far more significant than they are today. Now they carry far less weight. That's not to say that they're no longer important, but now you need to focus your efforts on 2 much more important areas: schema markups and making your site mobile friendly. So schema markups, what are they? Good question, my curious viewers. A schema markup is, as some refer to it, kind of like a virtual business card. Sort of. It is structured data that was created for users to be able to see important information about a website in a search before they enter the site. Things like scheduling, prices, featured items, and so on. Whatever important information you want potential visitors to know that might encourage them to enter your site. You can also think of it as a storefront. When you're walking down the street past a bunch of shops, it's usually the sign and the items featured in the window that give you an idea of whether or not you want to walk in and browse. The same goes for a website when you see the schema markup. Yeah, you know what? Scratch that business card idea. I like my storefront description much better. because that's exactly what it is, a virtual storefront. Take a look at how schema.org explains it. After all, they created it. Quote, most webmasters are familiar with HTML tags on their pages. Usually HTML tags tell the browser how to display the information included in the tag. For example, avatar in a header 1 tag tells the browser to display the text string avatar in a heading 1 format. However, the HTML tag doesn't give any information about what that text string means. Avatar could refer to the hugely successful 3D movie, great movie by the way, or it could refer to a type of profile picture. And this can make it more difficult for search engines to intelligently display relevant content to a user. End quote. Google and other search engines are all about schema markups these days, so it's absolutely vital that you include this in your site. Now for the second topic, making your site mobile friendly. This is huge when it comes to optimizing your site. Just to give you some perspective, Google doesn't normally let the masses in on the best ways to be recognized and favored by their algorithms, but somewhat recently, they publicly announced that sites which are not mobile friendly will take a significant hit as far as their SEO status goes. This is very significant. If Google is telling you to make your site mobile friendly, you better do it. To quickly fill you in if you're unsure what mobile friendly means, it means that not only does your site look great on this, but it also looks great on this and this. If you're someone who is using Twitter Bootstrap to create your site, then you're most likely already looking great on a mobile device, assuming you're using it properly. I don't want to clutter your mind with too much about Bootstrap anyway, because it's really not related to SEO. It's just a framework for building websites if you weren't sure before. A darn good framework at that. Anyway, moving on.
Links!
Links are a huge step to take in SEO. Now that you've got your schema markups and your site is mobile friendly, it's time to make Google recognize your site as a quality one. If Google recognizes your site as a quality site, that will give your site more rank with the keywords that you are trying to rank for. More rank means more site visitors, and more site visitors means more money, or more of whatever else you want to accomplish with your site. So, when I say links, what I really mean is that you want links from other sites pointing directly to your site. Let's focus on high quality and high ranking sites. Every little link helps, but links from a handful of big, high-ranking sites will do far more for you than a whole bunch of links from smaller sites like blogs that hardly anyone has ever visited. Google's ranking system is nothing short of a giant popularity contest. If the big dogs, the cool kids, are pointing to your site, then Google will say,
This site right here. If he's friends with those sites, then he must be pretty alright.
Google logic. What does that remind you of? Now you know something that will give you a major advantage over the competition, but that information is kind of useless to you unless you know how to actually get those big sites to link to yours. So, to elaborate, you're obviously not going to email a large company like Amazon and ask them to place a link to your site in theirs. That would be ridiculous. But there are tons of high-ranking sites out there where you can take the liberty of posting the links yourself. What sites, you ask? How about Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Pinterest, Reddit? That list do anything for you? And there are so many more to choose from. There are probably also plenty of forums out there that might pertain to your site in some way. Most, if not all of them, will allow you to create a profile and post. So how hard would it be to post a helpful link to your site on a particular thread in that forum? Not hard at all. So posting in those forums is a no-brainer, right? Wrong. What do you think this is, 2015? Come on, get with the times. While this used to be a viable method for getting search engines like good old Google to see you as something special, nowadays it actually works against you. Hey now, don't be mad at me because you fell for my trap. Someone's got to keep you on your toes. Before you all start raising your pitchforks at me for misleading you, I've got a real solution. It's a good one, I promise. So here it is. Let's pick a random industry, like say, the dental industry. For all of you dentists out there, go and search for organizations like the ADSO, Association of Dental Support Organizations, and become a member. Guess what members can do on that site? Under the Members section, they can feature their profiles with all of the other members on the page. And guess what happens when you click on one of those profiles? Just guess. Yup, it links you right to their site. See that? It's a bigger site linking to a bunch of smaller sites. Easy. I can't think of a better way to make your site look more reputable in Google's eyes. And organizations like that exist for just about every industry. Are you a video game audio engineer? Game Audio Network Guild. A bladesmithing American citizen? American Bladesmith Society. A worm farmer? Worm Farming Alliance. A worm farmer from Australia? Australian Worm Growers Association. Mate, Would you believe me if I told you that the American Association of American Associates for American Agriculture of America, the AAAAAA, exists? Because if you did believe me, you would be horribly disappointed to find yourself as the victim of yet another one of my white lies designed to keep you on your toes. But the others are real, I promise. Anyway, I think I gave you enough examples. Whatever your industry is, find organizations or guilds for that industry, join them, and let the links flow toward your beautiful little site. And finally, topic number 3. Content. I told you this word would resurface, and now you'll get to see why I asked you to remember this word earlier. It's easy to forget as you're trying to create and optimize your site that people are the ones visiting your site and possibly buying from it. People, not Google. So content is super important. At the end of the day, if your site has great content for the people who are doing the searching, then those people will stay on your site and most likely visit it multiple times in the future. They will buy from you, they will talk about you, they will post links on other sites and forums that point to you, and so on. The content is everything from the information within your site to the way that it's presented to the products that you might sell to people. Everything that makes your site unique and useful to somebody falls under the category of content. It has the biggest effect on the user experience in either a positive or negative way. So let's make sure it's positive. The most important rule when analyzing the content of your site is to understand the value of your site. What I mean by value is why would people want to visit your site? Why would they want to stay and browse? Why would they want to come back a second, third, fourth, or 30th time? What is the content of your site and what purpose does it serve? Who does it serve? These are the most important things to consider. If your site is built around the answers to all of these questions, then you will have a quality site. If not, then I hate to break this to you, but your site will never be anything special. You need quality content. I say again in all caps, you need quality content. No quality content is, you guessed it, bad for business. All of the rules that I mentioned above, which explain how to make Google recognize your site as a quality site instead of a spam site, will be for nothing if your site doesn't have quality content. Without quality content, your site is as good as a spam site. Okay, maybe that's a little extreme, but I think you get the point that I'm trying to make. Quality content is what people care about. Google has its fancy algorithms and methods for weeding out low quality or spam sites, but people are the ones actually exploring the site. So make sure your site delivers for the people. That's rule number 1, which is exactly why I saved it for last. Okay, so that basically covers it. The basics, at least. So, a quick review of the 3 main things that we talked about: schema markups, tags, and a site that looks pretty on all screen sizes. Links from other high-profile and popular sites that point to your site, and content that will make your site valuable to the people who search for it. This information should get you off to a great start. As you dabble in SEO even more, there are many more things that you can and probably should focus on to make the most out of your SEO efforts. But that's not something that you need to worry about right now if you're just getting started. For those of you who are new to SEO, just follow these tips and you will be way ahead of the game. Thanks for watching and have an awesome SEO experience. Until next time.